Let's open this beautiful evening with a little bit of light, shall we? So I light a candle to you. You in 2024. Let the party begin. And I light a candle that I came across over the holidays. That is a candle for love to love. And I do believe I plan on using this. Hopefully it'll last maybe a little while. Who knows, maybe even all year. It's a huge candle. I think it's probably the biggest candle I've ever lit. I usually use onesies instead of big candles over and over again. And one of the things that I loved about it was that it's got 2 wicks in it. Some of them have 3 or 4 or 10 or whatever. But it's got 2 wicks in it, which is so appropriate for one of the themes for this year, which is about creating relationships. Relationships with you, relationships with spirit, relationships with the field of life, etc., etc. So, my beautiful friends, welcome, welcome, welcome. Take a couple deep breaths, and we're going to just kind of close our eyes and go right into breathing. Always breathing. Breathing always comes first. My friends, while you're breathing, while you're closing your eyes, while you're tuning into you, bring your hands together with me, and let's light up some chi. No matter what your 2024 has looked like so far, no matter what your days look like so far, this is a really easy way to switch gears from the humanity of you into the spirit of you, which are probably already united, at least partially, perhaps even fully integrated. And that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? But as we turn to our spirit and we give it permission to occupy our mind, our bodies, our intentions, and our fields, we open up the grids of light and the chakras. So as you're rubbing your hands together, this is such a simple activity. It's not a Leanne creation. This is something that I've learned through Kundalini yogis that I know and love. And when you're rubbing your hands like this, you are activating all of your beautiful acupuncture points. You are opening up the highways of light that they are connected to. And you are starting to really pump some really high vibrational energy into your spirit. So go ahead and do that. And if you feel some pushback from your muscles, know that that's really normal. You might feel points in your body that are tight, that feel like pinpricks. You might have huge chunks of muscles that are just kind of like, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm going to tell you 10 more seconds on those ones. It's all that weight of the world you're carrying on their shoulders and in your body, and the things you have in detox that are just kind of like pushing back on you. You can slow it down if you need to. And by all means, just kind of take a couple deep breaths as you close your eyes here. You can start to get a little bit more comfortable if you need to, maybe just rocking back and forth on your sitting bones, maybe making tiny circles as you let yourself ground into this beautiful moment. There you go. For those of you that are kind of slowing down and rubbing your hands, just kind of check in. You're going to start to feel at some point that all your points open up. And when that takes place, your left and right palms are going to grab onto each other. Kind of like pulling taffy is what it feels like to me. You might start to feel heat, waves, pulsations, spirals moving through your body from any and all directions. And you might start to feel a connection to the field beyond your physical self. In other words, you might notice the temperature of the room, the density of the air on your skin. You might start to hear the humming sounds and vibrations of your light bulbs and your air conditioners if you are sensitive in your clairaudience. And in general, you might just start to feel expanded. There we go. I'm taking a look at everybody. You're all looking pretty good, nice and fired up. Bring your mind to the very center of your palms, and do me a favor, just give your palms little swirls as if you're rubbing your chakra palm points together. You can rub them to the front and back, go one way and then reverse it, do the other. So just kind of focus on your palms here for just a moment. Think of it like rolling a meatball around in your hands, for those of you that know what it's like to make meatballs. There you go, good. And then one more quick rub, and then let your hands rest and relax down in prayer position right at your heart center. And then from here, I just want to invite you to take a couple of nice heart centering breaths. Breathe all the way in, bringing every bit of your focus to the center of your heart. Hold each breath for just a few moments, collecting any kind of stress that you might be feeling in your mind, your heart, your body, your life. And then once you've got that locked in, just kind of release with your own permission to give yourself more room, to create more space, and to just let go. Taking a few more breaths, just continue to breathe into the heart and begin to envision a beautiful green flower of light, your Anahata chakra with 24 petals. And then on your exhale, just start envisioning that your petals relax open. There's no forcing in our Being You meditations. This is a state of allowance and observation. And as you witness yourself unfolding, the unfolding happens. There you go. Good. Everybody's heart is starting to breathe just a little bit nicer. And in a moment, I'm going to invite your heart chakra to spin. And you might start to feel, if you're not pressing your back and your body against something, just this little tiny rocking back and forth or a gentle spiral motion kind of coming through the heart center. Do me a favor, pull your thumbs in towards the center of your being. Breathe into that as if you're pulling a key into a lock. And then as you connect, unlock the very center of your heart. Right in the middle of your heart chakra, there is a big beam of pure white light. That is your internal central channel. See that key of love from your palms coming into your central channel. Let it open the innermost sacred space. And just very beautifully begin to feel a nice fountain of love coming through the heart. When I say a fountain of love, that might look or feel differently to you. It could be a spark that you discover. It could be a door that opens. It could be a hand that welcomes you. It could be anything that feels like love in your imagination and in your beingness. And so, my friends, there you go. Good. Everybody's got a nice opening taking place from the very center of your heart. Just go ahead and breathe around that. Get used to that feeling. Good. So now I'm going to invite you to stay here with your hands. We're still going to be heart-centered, but we're going to start bowing our heads. Just very slowly. Don't force this. Don't just drop your head, but very gently tilt your third eye downwards until it comes into alignment with the middle fingertips pointed straight upwards. And in order to achieve this, you're going to have to pull your chin back towards your spine ever so gently. And that's exactly what you want to feel at the back of the neck where it meets the skull. You want to feel a little bit of space being created right at the bottom of your skull. There you go. Good. And then the hinging forward feels ever so different. It's almost like the back part of your skull gets pulled upwards to the ceiling and you just naturally fold forward. There's a release that happens there at the back of the third eye. There you go, my friends. Let's just hang here for a moment. Begin to feel the front of your third eye blinking itself open. Right in the very center of your mind. Begin to feel that beautiful center of intuitive power. Ever so softly awakening to this moment. Let it breathe in all of your consciousness into the center point of mind. You might feel a nice little squeeze or a pull from every one of the channels that's inside of your head that lead out through your ears, through the front and the back of your head, through the top of your crown. Essentially, everything's really connected to the third eye. So I sometimes think of the activation of the third eye like those spheres that you see at science museums that have all this electricity coming to the surface when you put your hands on it. And all those little lines of light, all your powerful intuitive channels begin to relax and open. They straighten, they clear, they plug in. There we go. Good. Now, my friends, begin to feel a nice surrendering and a relaxation around your throat chakra. You might take a couple deep breaths and just really let go of your shoulders. Let them hang just a little heavier. Your hands are locked into your heart chakra, so you have no problem just letting that hang a little heavier. You might need to breathe in to create some space between the left and the right shoulder horizontally. Or you might just feel a little bit of an extra stretch through the vertebrae of your neck or even your upper back. So taking a nice deep breath across the back of the throat chakra, hold the image of a beautiful whoosh of light coming in from the blue ray as it volunteers to take all the burdens that you carry, all the weight of the world, all your responsibilities, temporarily or permanently off of your shoulders, as you wish. And if you need a little extra help with this, I'm going to call in my beautiful friend, beloved Archangel Michael, who is already here and present and can't wait to talk to you. He's the first one I woke up to today. There we go. Good. Begin to feel that beautiful blue light coming in a little bit deeper and darker than royal blue. Not quite indigo, but a nice, deep, rich royal blue color. And then from the back of the throat and the neck and the shoulders, begin to feel it kind of wrapping around the front of your torso, landing on your upper chest, covering your high heart chakra, and really starting to smooth the space between the heart and the throat space. If you need it, that blue can soak into your jaw. I can feel some tension in a few of us in the jaw area. You might feel a nice release going up the sides of your throat through your eustachian tubes and into the base of your ear canals. For some, I'm seeing the energy going even all the way up into the top of the sinus cavity and into the roof and palate of everyone's mouth. There you go. Good. Nice. Everybody just received that. So take a deep breath. And then exhale out your mouth nice and gently, like you're blowing out. Good. Relax your cheeks. Relax your eye sockets. Relax your temples. There we go. Good. So now as everything is filling with beautiful blue light and your throat chakra is coming online with all this support, your head is naturally going to want to lift upwards if it hasn't already done so. Go ahead and let that take place. There you go. Good. Press your hands back together. Lock into your heart chakra. Lift your fingertips upwards just a half an inch. And then start to very effortlessly feel the alignment taking place between the heart, the throat, the third eye, and your crown chakras. My beautiful friends, in just a moment, I'm going to invite you to open your hands down into your lap. But as you do so, I'd like you to do it with a big intention. Do it with an acceptance, as if you are receiving 2024 and all its infinite potential into you, into your heart, into your world, into your life, and of course, into your beingness. So when you're ready, take one more nice, big, beautiful, heart-centered breath. Breathe all the way in with me. Hold it to the count of 7. And then when you exhale, imagine your breath exhaling upwards through your crown, all the way up through your multitude of points from your crown chakra petals. And then you can open your hands nice and sweetly, almost like a burst of energy coming out of your hands. And then very softly let them flow, let them float down into your lap, palms facing up. And just be here like this for a few moments. Begin to feel the waterfall of love and light coming in from your spiritual source, far, far above you, from the highest, most levels, from the true source of oneness, from all that is love and light in this infinite field of creation. And whatever you call that, whether it's Mother or Father God or Spirit or Source or Universe, or maybe it's just, hey, you, that's okay too. Make this your own. So now begin to feel above your crown chakra that your crown is actually relaxing with every breath that you take. It's expanding higher and higher. It's reaching up as high as the mountains of this world. So begin to feel your almost 1,000 petals of light that are in your crown chakra, the purple center, reaching upwards like peaks of mountaintops. Begin to feel this mountain range reaching upwards to that level. And as we touch there, we begin to penetrate the level of the etheric planes. We begin to tap into the grids that have been floating above this planet in the higher atmosphere for many, many generations of light workers. And so just take a few moments and feel yourself plugging into that ceiling of the world. Technically, it's the ceiling of the world, but it's the floor of the etheric planes. And so it's a little bit of both. There you go. And if you've ever traveled to the mountains and you've been at high altitudes before, you've probably already felt that kind of a connection, that it is so easy to be connected to the etheric realms when you're up high. There you go. Beautiful. And so begin to imagine yourself, just envision in your mind's eye for a few moments that you're sitting on the tops of these gorgeous mountain peaks of your own creation. Maybe you're sitting on pink mountains or purple mountains or whatever color you'd love to see, overlooking the green valleys below, the blue oceans, the white clouds floating by, the big bright yellow sunlight, or perhaps a moon that's reflecting the light above you. Take a look at the world from this perspective and just feel so much peace towards it. And we all know that there's many things going on with this world that could use extra care and attention. But for this particular moment, just feel suspended here, floating over top of that turmoil, aware of it, but still so full of safety and peace, so at ease and full of grace. Take a couple deep breaths in this space and really breathe into your lower abdomen. Let that breath nourish your solar plexus. Let it flow down through your sacral chakra. Let it open your root to the root of the etheric plane. In essence, this lifts your roots from your grounding point off the surface of the earth and lifts it to the grounding point in the etheric atmosphere, in the place where we traveled to see all the temples of light where our guides and guardians have trained us before arriving here in humanity, where we feel so connected to our guides, our angels, the masters and teachers, our ancestors, and our loved ones in spirit. And so as you're grounding into this beautiful mountaintop range, and as you're arriving here in this etheric realm, the invitation from the universe is that you feel an enormous, full embodiment feeling of belonging here. For those of you who have not ever felt that you've belonged in the world in the families you've landed in, or maybe even in your body or in your humanity. If you've longed for that place where you belong and have yet to find it, this is your first gift of this year, is a true sense of belonging. It doesn't mean you have to go and move to the mountaintops, but you can tap into this divine belongingness from anywhere on this planet at will, and it will remain with you throughout your days and weeks and months all year long, and even beyond. So begin to feel yourself arriving here, belonging here, opening here. And then as you unfold your beautiful spiritual root chakra, and it expands its 4 petals of light in the 4 directions, let it plug in to this beautiful consciousness plane. And then as you do, everything around you will now fill with the light of this realm. Instantaneously, everything becomes so much brighter, as if you are now entering a world of light sitting on top of our planet. And then the floor that you are on is covered so solidly with beautiful colors and light that you can walk through this plane of consciousness easily and effortlessly. So from here where you are, expand your field of awareness. Imagine that you are vertically being pulled and stretched upwards. So the entire etheric realm, all the way to the top of it, in our planetary grids, can be revealed to you. Feel that easy stretch through your light body, and then begin to feel yourself getting attuned to the etheric planes. And as you expand outwards in every beautiful direction, all the kingdoms of goodness and light and love are beginning to gather around you very effortlessly. And depending on what your strongest intuitive sense is, you might see what I'm talking about, you might feel what I'm talking about, or you might simply know what I am talking about in the truth of you. Almost like a remembrance. And so as you are receiving the company of heaven and you're beginning to feel the presence of so many beautiful beings of light who love you and welcome you, your senses will become finely attuned. The feelings will take form and the shapes will appear. The light will ground into your sensitivity, and it will show itself to you more easily as your senses acclimate to these vibrations. In such a way, the light will part and the imagery will come to you. So just take your time here. Let your feelings ground. Let your insights ground. Let your psychic abilities at this level ground into you. There we go. Good. And so from the innermost part of you, begin to sense in the entire field of light around our beautiful home, away from home, across the grids of the entire planet, scattered in every direction, there are phenomenal temples of light that are hovering here in this level of consciousness. And you can feel them as if they are a network connected to you. Somehow you can pinpoint the temple of the pink ray hovering over France. You can feel the white ray temple of ascension hovering over top of Luxor, Egypt. You can feel the yellow ray temple all the way over the top of South America, over Lake Titicaca in the highest plains. These are just a few of the temples, but just take a moment and feel temple after temple after temple coming online for you, as if these bullet points of energy are popping up and giving you their flames. And they are connecting the temples amongst themselves through you and around you. One of the most important violet flame temples that exists and that is transmuting so much activity on the planet right now is hovering over the land of Cuba. That is one of the spaces where the archangels reside, and it is a place for the last 100 years that has really been grounding the violet flame energies. And for so many of us who in this group live in the South Florida region or who have visited down here, you may have felt the influence of the violet flame broadcasting its frequencies across the field. You might sense it in the activities of the humans that live in this space. And I'm not saying there's always perfection, don't get me wrong. When you live close to a temple, oftentimes there's just as much that's getting transmuted as there is what has already been created. The violet flame over Cuba has a sistering over the land of New York. It is connected to Lady Portia, and it is the flame of justice and liberty. That temple has been connected to multiple temples around the world, ones that originated in France, others that have transmuted all the way across our beautiful country over to Mount Shasta, where many of us got to visit and tour a few years ago. On the way to Mount Shasta, there is a temple in the Grand Tetons in Wyoming, amongst the mountains, where the entire Brotherhood of the White Light resides. Just north of that, we have Archangel Michael's home in Banff, Ontario, where he channels an enormous amount of blue ray energy. We have temples that go across the ocean into the lands on the other side of the world. Some of us have traveled over to Japan, where one of the newest violet flame temples has been established, and where the light is now beginning to blaze for the violet flame in the Pacific. My friends, I'm just naming a few of the temples to help you to feel the influences that we've actively been working with as a light community in the last few years. I know people in this group who've traveled to all of these points, and I haven't even mentioned Hawaii, which is a golden ruby ray temple, which is extraordinary, and it has been doing so much activity to clear conflict out of the world. And it partners with a temple in the Middle East that hovers over Jerusalem, which is also transmuting conflict in that part of the world and region. And so as you sit here at the base, plugged into the root chakra of the etheric plane, and as you begin to feel and sense this network of beautiful temples of light, give yourself permission to be shown the activities of these light temples recently and over the last few years. Some of them might even look familiar to you because in your astral bodies, many of you have been traveling into the etheric planes to support the activities of transmutation that each one of these collective fields transmutes for the world. And for all of that activity, we thank you so very much. But you are being shown this incredible network to give you one piece of information here tonight: that you belong to this field of light, that you are not separate from it, that you are a part of a great, big, beautiful team of phenomenal, powerful, loving, aware beings who are all so powerfully dedicated to the improvement of the qualities here in this planet, who are constantly in sacred effort to make this world a better place and to clean up the karma that has been built here over the ages, to mitigate the fears that continue to be bred, and to create true equality and harmony for all of mankind, but also amongst the realms. where this is not just a home for the humans. The elemental kingdom, the human kingdom, and the kingdom of spirit all share this space together. We are all coexisting and learning to work together and to create a unified, blessed, happy, peaceful world. And while there is still so much to do, please remember that you are part of something beautiful. Your existence has mattered in ways that you will probably not be able to fathom. It is because of your existence that the violet flame has created such successful impact in such short time. It is because of your participation, your prayers, your love, your activity, your sacredness, and your choices that the messages have come from this etheric plane down into the world of humanity. You have been a great part of this awakening plan. And it is our pleasure to announce to you that the phase 1 part of this plan has been completed. We will talk more about this later in our program. But we celebrate you. We celebrate us. And we welcome you home into the connection with the etheric planes, with the temples of sacred light, with the hubs and the hearts of the 7 healing rays, and with all of the guides and guardians, angels and archangels, masters and teachers and students of each and every one of these powerful God vibrations. Once again, take a deep breath and belong. Allow the 7 sacred flames to now come from their temples directly into the center of you. Allow them to align themselves into your central channel, sparking 7 beautiful flames of new power, new consciousness, and new love that will support you in all your efforts and endeavors in 2024. In the root chakra, begin to feel the white ray spark. Breathe into that white flame. Allow it to envelop your kundalini. Let it envelop your root. And just breathe. In your sacral center, the violet flame of freedom comes into partnership with your personal violet flame, and it fills your beautiful orange chakra full of sacred power and authority. This is the flame of justice, equality, and freedom. In your solar plexus, begin to feel the golden ruby ray flame, which could be any color from fuchsia pink to orange to bright golden light, or some combination of all of those. Let the golden ruby ray flame of grace and peace, service, administration come into partnership with your inner flame of self in your solar plexus. Allow it to fire up your self-love, your self-motivation, and your self-acceptance. And then taking a beautiful deep breath, let's go into the green heart chakra, where the pink ray flame, like an atomic blast of pink light, is entering into the center of your pink heart in your green heart. Some of you might think of this like a watermelon. So the pink fire comes into the very center of your green space, deep in your chest, and it is literally the flame of your life force chi. It is the heart of unconditional, non-judgmental love. It is the flame of creative power, gratitude, and appreciation. And so as you breathe that beautiful pink flame in, I'm being reminded to accept your flames. Beautiful. As you take one more breath of acceptance in your heart, come with me up into your blue throat chakra. And you've already had a little bit of blue ray coming into your throat space, but now begin to feel a true flame of empowerment, confidence, faith, courage, strength coming right into the center of your blue voice. Let that light of the warrior within you, the protectiveness of that love that you are, be enveloped by all that beautiful deep blue light. Let it blaze brightly. And now, my beautiful friends, join me in the center of the mind, deep in the infinite space of the third eye. Allow an emerald green flame to enter the very center of your indigo blue chakra. And as you go deeper and deeper into the indigo blue, as if you are traveling into the midnight sky, begin to feel an emerald green spark so beautiful and bright, a flame so rich in content that it becomes the everythingness of all that you are inside of you. All of your worth, all of your value, all of your substance, the microcosm of you inside the macrocosm of this universe. Feel that emerald green as if it is your richness, your intellect, your truth. Beautiful. Feel that flame of health and healing blazing from the center of the inner verse of you throughout all of you. And then take in one more big, beautiful, deep breath into the center of your mind and let it expand even more. And then lastly, my beautiful friends, let's come into the crown chakra at the top of your chakra system. And inside of that purple flower of almost 1,000 petals, begin to feel a bright yellow flame coming into the very center of your crown, slipping right into the opening at the center of all those beautiful petals. Begin to feel that yellow light of consciousness and higher selfedness, the you beyond ego, the full illumination, wisdom, all the access to your cognizance is in this bright yellow flame. Begin to feel it filling the space of your crown. And let it bring your spiritual mind online with your higher self. Beautiful. Take a nice, easy, deep breath. And with the least amount of effort possible, begin to feel a central white channel coming up from the base of the spine all the way up through these 7 gorgeous flames, uniting them all together in oneness, and then penetrating even through the top of that yellow flame in the crown, and let it flow all the way up to your soul star chakra above you. Once that white light channel reaches your soul star, begin to feel a cascading of light coming down over your aura, very gently flowing over your surface, washing you clean, holding you in the utmost purity and peace, helping the entire sphere of your aura to become perfectly ready for this beautiful moment. There we go. As you open your field this sweetly to the energy of this etheric plane and to the energy of this beautiful year. You are now prepared to receive all the gifts and blessings and the messages. So take another few moments, and if there's anywhere else in your beingness that you could open, cleanse, release, transmute, or bless yourself anymore, you go right ahead and do that now. Maybe one of your flames is calling to you and you just want to soak in it for a few extra minutes. Perhaps there's cords of light that you would like to ask Archangel Michael to clear on your behalf. He's very happy to do so. Perhaps you just want to sit in silence and quietude. I'm going to give you a few moments here to do exactly that and whatever fits your heart the best. On your next few breaths, allow your attention very softly to return to my voice. Feel yourself breathing in, feel yourself breathing out. And then bring your center of awareness back into your beautiful heart chakra, where we began. And you will notice that the space of your heart is now full of your most authentic qualities and vibrations. It is already flowing with that which is most necessary and important to you in terms of colors and frequencies. But there is a space in your heart here that is also opening you and welcoming you to enter. And so envision yourself in your higher light body, simply walking into your heart chakra, coming into its center, and with great self-love, with true self-care, without any kind of fear or hesitation, take your rightful place in your heart. If there are things that would prevent you from doing so, remember that you have every right to move that energy however you see fit. And so I will repeat the invitation. Take your rightful place in your heart. Take your rightful place in your life. Allow what you just created in your heart to now become a full body experience inside of the relationship field between you and your life. And again, I repeat to you the invitation. Take your rightful place in life. And one last time, perhaps you wish to silently repeat this with me. I take my rightful place in my life. As you take your rightful place in your heart and in your life, begin to feel the entire universe of you facilitating this, supporting this, and praising you for this. For you have arrived at the rightful place within yourself. And now, having arrived, take a moment to breathe in, to breathe out, and to become more aware of yourself here in this beautiful human world, here in this human form, here in this beautiful body. Begin to feel your senses coming to life. Start hearing the sounds around your room. Start noticing the rhythms of your body. And very gently begin to feel the loving care of gravity holding you here on this home away from home. When you are ready to do so, take one more nice, big, deep breath with me. Breathe all the way in and bring your hands back to your heart chakra. Hold that breath for a half a second and then release. And then one more time, let's breathe all the way in, bowing our heads just a little bit. And then exhaling down through the root, letting it land back on the planet. Exhale all the way down back into the now. From my heart to each and every one of you, my beautiful friends, namaste. Namaste. Very slowly, you can wiggle your fingers and toes and start to stretch your parts of you that are ready to wiggle and jiggle. And when it feels right to do so, not a second before, you, of course, can open your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths as you open your eyes and you come back to the world. Just stay in that floaty space for just a moment. How did that feel? Pretty good. I hope so. All right. I think this is a perfect time to take a 5-minute break just to let you just stand and stretch, maybe to journal a little bit about whatever it is that you just experienced, or just to refresh yourself so we can be present a little bit more humanly in our next part. Okay, so go ahead and take a 5, and I'll see you soon. Love you. All right. So in that meditation, we had, okay, by the way, if I ever say to you, this is just going to be a little meditation, we're not going to do anything big, don't even worry about it. This is just a breathing exercise. Don't listen to me. It never happens to be the truth. They always hijack my let's take 2 breaths and then continue idea and take it into somewhere else, which is perfectly fine with me. And I don't get to complain because, of course, you know that I just work here. But if I say that to you, I apologize. I don't mean to set you up for one thing and then to deliver another. It's something that a long time ago, Aurora, my guardian archangel, started to tell me to say to take away the intimidation factor of a big, deep meditation for most people, and especially for people who aren't used to meditating. So by telling somebody, oh, we're not going to do anything too complicated, then you don't set yourself up in the way that you would set yourself up like, oh, let's sit down for an hour's worth of meditation. Because you just sat down for about an hour's worth of meditation and it flowed pretty gracefully and it probably felt like 2 minutes for you until you started moving your body again. But if I do say that, please know that it's not meant to be a lie. It's just meant to help put you in the right space and right framework. So my beautiful friends, how was your 2023? Have you had a minute to look back and be like, wow, look at what was that about? I always try and take a little bit of extra time at the end of the year to do exactly that. And I know that my brain functions on a little bit of an odd level. I pick up all this data from multiple planes of consciousness and I try to make sense of it. And of course, I'm always happy to share anything that I can with all of our beautiful light worker community. But I find that throughout the year, I get to have this really enormous honor because I get to work with so many of you, either through private sessions or in classes, or even working with the guides, where I get to channel in our programs the activity of light week by week, month by month, year by year. I have this great blessing that I get to have my finger kind of on the pulse of the collective and the divine directives and so on and so forth. And I don't pretend to know everything, because I promise you, I hope you don't think that about me, because I really don't know everything about everything. But I'm very grateful for the little glimpse of truth that I do get to receive and that I get to share with you. And I hope it enriches your life as much as it enriches mine. But 2003 was not an easy year. It was full of real world challenges, both personal and in the greater scheme of things in the collective. And it was a very, how do I say this? It was a very real year. We weren't just meditating on mountaintops and doing fun things and being loving, happy people. Our boots were on the ground and we were kicking up a lot of dirt and getting a lot of worldly activity done to clear space for spiritual beingness. And that was not always easy work. And then last year, 2023, one of the themes of the year was to start permeating into our fields that were collective fields. So previous years leading up to that, we were working on cleansing ourselves. We were working on healing ourselves. We were working on improving ourselves and developing ourselves in the best, highest ways possible. And then 2003 shows up and they said, here you go, take that big fish that you are in your little pond that you know what you're doing in, and then let's fling you in an ocean. And so the field that we were existing in felt so much bigger, even though the themes were very similar. It was like, if you had been working up until then on remembering that you are a powerful warrior, then all of a sudden you actively had to be a warrior against everything and everything in 2023. And so whatever your themes are that are your rays, that are your life rays, that are the most important qualities that you are here to master and to express, they really got cranked up, and it went from inward activity in 2022 to outward activity in 2023. So that was also a little bit of a difficult thing, in the sense that we had a couple of years of introversion, especially because of COVID. Then we had to go back out into the world and learn to connect again. And many of us had to learn to connect in a different way. We were more selective. We listened to our hearts and said, well, you know, what's really important to me? Is this still really important to me? Is that still really important to me? You were more finely tuned to yourself, to your peace, to your center than ever before. And I knew a lot of people that did not want to leave that center, did not want to step back out into that world. And yet the world grabbed us and pulled us out there. And that's okay too. So we're not meant to live on our islands, right? So in 2023, not only had we inched out of our comfort zones, we got flung into turmoil and injustice and insecurity topics and lots of big things came up for clearing and healing last year. And it was one after the other. Our root chakras took hits, our sacral chakras took hits, our solar plexuses took hits, and we tumultuously rolled into the winter solstice of 2023. Near the end of the year, there was just this very gentle reprieve, energetically speaking, where the topics shifted just a little bit from getting used to operating in a collective sense to, all right, almost like a reversal of topic. Let's look at your scarcity issues. And then scarcity became a very real topic, right? In the last, I want to say the last quarter of 2023. And for those of you that have been in my classes through last year, you'll be familiar with what I'm talking about. If you weren't in my classes throughout the year, just kind of meditate on these things and you'll see that these themes still permeated our lives, because the work that we did was really, again, more the global patterns that were unfolding. It was all the energies coming in on the solstices and the equinoxes and through the years and through the moon alignments, et cetera, et cetera. So by the last quarter of the year, all of a sudden, a whole big chapter opened, and I felt this feeling of like, man, we all of a sudden needed to like deal with scarcity issues, scarcity of this, scarcity of that, scarcity of love. Where do we feel lack? Where do we feel lack of our own selves? We looked to the relationship of self. We looked to the interpersonal fields. We looked at our relationship with life. We looked at our relationship with God, source, spirit, guides. People even started complaining to me, man, my guides all started taking a day off. What happened? There's scarcity here. What's going on? Nobody's talking to me anymore. So we had to address the core roots of scarcity, but the undercurrent of all that work that we did in the last 3 months really truly felt like it was preparing me and you for something important. And so this year, 2024, is really exciting to me. I cannot wait to see what happens. Like, I can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of work anyway, because it always is going to be a lot of work. If you're expecting this year to be easier than last year, kind of shake that off. It doesn't have to be easier than last year. It's going to be perfect for you this year. No matter how much effort you put in, you will have that amount of strength. No matter how much love you need to put in, you will have that resource. No matter how much right effort you need, everything you need to accomplish, the things you need to accomplish are going to be there for you. So it's not that the year is going to be easier or harder. It's going to be exactly what it needs to be for the spirit of you to unfold exactly as you are designed to unfold. So I kind of laugh when people say, oh, I really hope this is an easier year. And I'm looking at them saying, well, you've got bigger muscles. If you've been doing any kind of work, you got bigger muscles. So chances are likely, unless you're retired and nobody told me, that it's going to be still a very purposeful, active opportunity to contribute, to learn, to grow, but not to do so in a way that depletes you. And I think that's the biggest piece here. Is last year felt depleting on certain levels. The theme that I gave us for last year, or that I was given to give us last year, was that we were reconstructing ourselves. And throughout the year, we really broke down what that meant to be. Who am I, right? Who am I and how do I operate in this collective? That became a very important lesson that we learned, that we practiced, that we tried the right things, we tried the wrong things. We tried this way of being, we tried that way of being. How do I want to be in the collective? And then again, with that theme of scarcity at the end of the year, it was breaking down any kind of beingness that caused you not to be generous in preparation for the generousness that is going to be required of you as the invitation for 2024. When I say required of you, I kind of hate to use that word, but it's the only word she's saying in my head. It's required of you, not because the boss of some external source of you is going to say, thou shalt be generous, whether you like it or not, whether you have it or not. But the spiritual practice of this year is going to be generous. And not just generous with your resources. Doesn't mean if you have $1, give it away. That's human generosity. That's not what Spirit is talking about. But we're going to learn how to be generous in a different way. And that's why we ended up having, I love it. Look at the cash flying around already. Nice, David. We're going to be learning to energetically be generous, but without depleting your batteries. And the why behind that is because this year, the practice is also going to be to operate from source's battery. Last year, we were doing an awful lot on our own. So this year, the key to success, the key to real happiness, the key to being creatively powerful, the key to being loving and to attracting everything that you're looking for is to create that relationship between the self of you and the field of you, which is the field of life. In that field of life, everything that you believe about that field of life from before needs to be looked at. And this year, you're going to have an opportunity to do that. We don't oftentimes think of life as being our life partner, right? That kind of sounds weird. But if you did, just for the sake of this conversation, think of your life as your life partner. You can have lots of people in your life, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking energetically partnering with life as your life partner and seeing your field of life as an extension of you. And this couldn't be more important to grasp in like every way that it's meant to be grasped. I don't have all the ways that it's going to be grasped that I'm going to tell you, okay, it's this, this, and this tonight. No, this is going to unfold throughout the year, but this is the umbrella theme of what we're going to be talking about. So as we become friends with life, as we begin to trust life, as we begin to work with life, not just into life, we are going to have access to enormous resources. Energetic resources, human resources, elemental resources, spiritual resources, energetic from the rays resources, all the substances that you need, all the power you need, all the money and cash you need, all the attention you need, all the time you need. Time is a resource. All the effort you need, everything that you need is a resource. Okay. And we are going to learn how to trust that and how to work with external partnered resources this year. Am I making sense so far? Okay, you have your little chat box down there. If anybody has any questions, I have it open. So you are more than welcome to pop it in there and I'll keep one eyeball on it. Okay, so that's one of the big themes that we've got going on this year. And what it's going to do in terms of lessons is, it sounds like all this, like, oh, that's a great idea, Leah. We're going to be a resource from the universe. It's all going to be loving and great and blah, blah, blah. And trust me, I'm one of those like annoyingly optimistic people. I get accused of it all the time that thinks, oh, it's awesome. But my soul knows better. Along with the lessons, there's going to be all the buttons that gets pushed, right? Like the human inside of us is really going to have to make room for more of your divinity. And of course, in the mind of you, in the spirit of you, you're like, yeah, that sounds great. I've been doing that for a year. No, this is going to get real, right? This is going to get real. Your buttons are going to get pushed. The ego of you is going to fight back, as it always does, because it's seeking survival. And it's not going to be as easy as we talk about, right? It's going to hit your self-worth questions, the ones you don't even know that you have. It's going to hit your insecurities. It's going to make you feel those abandonment topics that already exist. Like if you've ever felt like the universe abandoned you, or if a resource of life abandoned you, that's in there. Those types of things are going to get brought up. Now, last year, here's the really interesting thing. We already went through the same list of topics that are going to get hit this year, but in a different department. So last year was really a preparatory year for what we're going to be achieving and accomplishing this year. Last year, we got tackled by some insecurities that came out. We got tackled by insufficiency consciousness that came out. We got tackled by injustices that all of a sudden we had coming to the surface. And it was like wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. It was like, oh my God, are we done with this yet? So all of these topics came up so very quickly. And they were really revealed very quickly. The buttons that you have are this and this and this. This is your insecurity. This is your insufficiency. This is your injustice. Those are three really big words. If you haven't written them down and you want to take a note, you're welcome to. But of course, this is getting recorded. So what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to take those same three words, and I'm sure half a dozen other ones that I haven't gotten yet from the universe, but we're going to take those same three major themes from your root chakra: not belongingness, abandonment. All of that creates insecurity inside of your relationship to life. So that's going to be brought to the surface somewhere in this year. How do we heal that? How do we heal your security with life? That could even include such topics as your mortality. If you know that somewhere along the line there's an end, and if that freaks you out in any way, shape, or form, that is an insecurity about your field of life. If you have, here's another example. One of my friends was sharing with me that she's got a major move coming up this year. She lives in Florida. She's now moving over to Phoenix. And all of a sudden, like overnight, started getting a panic attack about that. Well, the day before, she was like, yeah, we're moving to Phoenix. This is awesome. It's going to be great. And then her insecurity buttons and all the abandonment issues that she thought she already worked on came back to the surface. And next thing you know, we've got a huge list of things that need to be addressed. And that's very easy to do once you have the tools and once you know where to point your attention and your love and your healing. Okay. So the relationship that you have between your selfhood and your life, the field, what I'm going to call the field, is going to be so important. So one of the things you're going to find in this year is you are going to have topics of those insecurities, like life has let me down. I didn't get the thing that I wanted. I'm not on the path that I thought I'd be on. The wounds that you have on that level are going to be coming up so that you can heal them, make peace with them, and then get back into your love and your light. Okay. The second topic, and this one comes from the violet flame, the sacral chakra area. This one is all the injustices, okay? It's not fair. It's not fair is like the mantra of injusticing. So this person has, I don't. It's not fair, very simply put. Why is it so easy for them? Why is it always so hard for me? It's not fair. That's one of those topics that could come up in there. Why? Sorry to take a moment here. I'm listening at the same time. This is one that Aurora didn't bring up to me recently. She's reminding me of it before. One of the interesting things inside of your relationship to your life that is going to be worked on this year is how you wield your power. And you're going to notice that some people wield it differently around you. Everybody has their own version of power. Some use it quote unquote rightly, some quote unquote wrongly, but that's not me being judgmental. That's me just saying for the highest and best versus for the personal gain. Okay. Egoically versus for the win-win good of all. So as we learn to wield our power correctly in the field of life, which includes, by the way, our feminine creative power and our masculine get it doneing power, the doerness, as we learn to wield those in the most appropriate ways, we're going to have a little bit of lessons to learn in terms of how comfortable are you with your power and doing so. You might find yourself in spaces of confrontation, not because you can't handle it, but because confrontation is not necessarily your fun zone. And it's causing you to express yourself in a lower vibrational way rather than in your true authentic self. So situations like that might arise for you. By the way, it's not all going to be difficult and challenging. I don't want you to hear that. Okay. I don't want you to have a doom and gloom kind of feeling as you're coming out of this beautiful launch party. I want you to have a lot of enormous confidence in yourself because, again, I'm going to say it again and again and again. Whatever you face this year, and here's the interesting part, the resources to handle it will already be yours. So no matter what activity of light you are invited to participate in, you're going to have to remember, oh, I already have all the power, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the love, all the care, all the guidance, all the everythingness that I need in order to handle this situation. So literally, this is going to be a journey of faith. You're going to have faith that the resources are there for you, but you're also going to really start to feel those resources. You're going to feel it in a much more tangible way because the connection between your divine resources and your humanity has never been closer than now. Okay, so that's the second part of it, right? We've got the injustices covered. I kind of took a little tangent here. I totally realized that. So we have the injustices, which are the topics. It's not fairs. If it's not fair, how do we equalize this? How do we participate and contribute to the improvement, the betterment? Okay. The third topic that we got hit with last year that we're going to be touching base with again this year, but instead of internally, externally, is the topic of insufficiency. That's your scarcity topics. That's the solar plexus department. Okay. So in the solar plexus, we are going to have, it's not necessarily that it's only going to hit your chakra, by the way. even though I'm identifying that that's the vibe of your solar plexus, but it is a full field penetrating kind of a vibe. So the insufficiencies that you have experienced before, in whichever part of your life you felt it, whether it's I never have enough time, whether it's I never have enough finances, whether it's I don't have enough motivation, whether it's I just don't have enough to get enough done, whatever the version is that you've got that are insufficiencies, that's going to play out in the relationship between you and your life. Now, having said this, it's not because life is going to be insufficient for you. I'm not looking to create that with you. But if there is insufficiency in your relationship, it's going to be revealed so it can be broken through. Hear me out on that. The insufficiency, the injustice, and the insecurities that you have that play out between you and life that you don't know you have, that are preventing you from having more fun, more joy, more love, more success, more freedom, more financial abundance, more of all the good things, it's already there. We're going to be working to transmute that stuff this year. So this is not a torturous year. This is actually going to be a very, very generous and beneficial year for you. But the topics are really kind of hardcore, right? Because they're topics that are coming from that deep space, but in the collective. So last year you got to work on these things for your own individual self, also getting your feet wet in the collective pool. And now you're in the collective pool, still at that same level. Now you're going to start in the collective, but specifically the collective that I'm calling the field of life, not the collective in your soul groups. That's not what I'm talking about. This is a different level. The collective of you in the external part of you, not the internal part of you, the external part of the way it's expressed from you outward into the extroverted field. The difference being, I'm not telling you you have to deal with 100 million people in your environment who have all these topics who are going to hit your buttons. I'm not worried about you and every other people. I'm more specifically concerned this year about you having had those buttons inside of you that have produced these results in the field of life around you. Your life is responding to old consciousness of insecurity, insufficiency, and injustice. And this year is all about reprogramming it so that you can break through that, so you can start to have benevolence and abundance, justice, freedom, and oodles of security, which include being hopeful, optimistic, feeling like you belong. Now, in this, are we good with that so far? I'm going to switch gears for a second. Yes? Okay, cool. Taking a deep breath. In our opening meditation, one of the first things that got done was we got lifted into the etheric plane, which is a very real physical thing. It's a different level, right? And that level of consciousness, it's like a world sitting on top of a world, and it's an unseen world, but it can be felt, it can be experienced. Like I said, if you've ever traveled to the top of mountains, you're closer to the etheric planes. And for example, when we traveled to the Grand Tetons, the temple was like literally sitting on the ground over there because we were 8,000 feet in the air above sea level. And just walking around felt like we were walking around inside of a different kind of a field of light, which was an incredible sensation. So when you go up, even in your spiritual meditations, up to that level, and you sit on that floor, which when you're down here, it feels like the ceiling of the penthouse, right? But when you're up there, it feels like the floor that you land on. The idea of doing that with you and getting that locked in today is because throughout 2024, your team in spirit is inviting you to belong there. It's lifting your sense of belongingness, which is like first cousins to your security, lifts you into your belongingness and reminding you you really belong here. And by the way, here is here. Like the here up here is going to start feeling like it is touching down on the ground, and your belongingness down here in 3D is going to feel so much more fulfilled and easy because you are now belonging and plugged in root chakra wise to the etheric planes. In other words, what felt way up there is like, oh, it's right there. Okay. It's difficult to describe what that sensation is going to do for you. But imagine that it's going to be easier. 3D is going to start feeling a lot more like 5D to you. And that 5D groundedness is going to download into your 3D humanity. Along with that, through that channel, the resourcefulness that you normally have in your 5D spiritualness is going to come down through the channel and land here in the 3D. And I want to emphasize this because the spirit of all of us has been aware that this stuff, what I'm going to call this stuff, like the truth of the truth, like the world as it should be, what should be taking place here, what would be right to happen here in this world. We all feel it in our bones, like it already exists. Like, and then we open our eyes, we look at the world, we're like, where is it? Like, we've been praying for this for years. We've been energizing this for years. How come this world of love and light, hope and healing, truth and grace and peace, how come this spiritual place isn't here? What's going on? It's almost like a breakdown in the feeling of being told, well, this exists. And then we realize it does exist up there. Okay, great. So it exists up there, but I'm down here. Does anybody else know that feeling that I'm talking about? Like, I feel like for years, like, where is it? Like, why we've been told it's here, it's here, it's here. Okay, great. Well, like, why isn't it actually like here in 3D? And like, I can't tell you how many light workers I know that are like, it's so frustrating. Oh my God. Anyway, the channel for that downloading has not been built. Okay. The channel to get up there and that truth in the 5D down into the 3D world in a violet flame way has yet to be created. But this year, you, the central channel of you, is the beginning of building that. And I cannot tell you the importance of that, because imagine light workers around the world being pillars that are opening. We have practiced for many, many years getting plugged in, connected, getting locked into the Wi-Fi of spirit. We've practiced going down and grounding into the earthly elemental planes. We've practiced reaching our branches up into the light of God, spirit, source, universe above. We have practiced holding that tube of light and moving our chakras inside that space. You have fortified those muscles to be able to do so. And now we get to take that channel into a collective building channel. What that means is your channel is going to be stretched. It is going to be expanded. It is going to be filled with more fibers. Your optics are going to be improved. Your bandwidth is going to be jacked up and then jacked up again and then jacked up again. And you will become these massive pillars of wide open light. And around that, and just picture this for a second, like if there were 10 million pillars of light open from the surface of the planet up to the etheric planes, and if there were 10, even 10,000 open channels from that realm to this realm, then all of a sudden we're creating a network. We're building a grid. And so that's exactly the project that we're beginning this year, is we're going to begin to build those grids where we, our bodies of light, our channels of light, our I am tubes, are literally going to be, I could also say our tree trunks, are literally going to be the pillars holding up the ceiling, connecting the ceiling and the floor. And then in future years, the space in between will be able to be filled in easier ways. I don't have the directive on what's going to go on there. Last year, one of the great big building activities that we participated in, that most of you probably do not realize that you were part of, was that the Violet Flame and the entire team of the Violet Flame needed to build a new, I'm going to just call it a network, a new grid, really is what it was, a new grid across the surface of the earth. In other words, there were grids for the violet flame underneath the surface of the earth, but to give us, the human realm, access to more violet flame technology from the earthly planes, and to help us to have access to this energy that transmutes the negative and brings it into the positive, so that all the worldly topics could be brought from the karmic layers into the worldly layers, which means below the surface of the earth to the above the surface of the earth. We ended up having to build a brand new grid. And so if you are part of those building teams, and if you are doing the astral travel level work like I've been, which I have no doubt many, many of you are, you probably haven't slept all year last year. You probably woke up exhausted every night. Like, what am I up to? You've been doing construction. You've been building literally an entire planet's worth of grids. And I'm not talking about small grids, man. This is one of the biggest grids that I've ever seen getting built on the planet. It took a whole effort from multiple realms to be able to facilitate this. It was one of the first levels of partnership between the three kingdoms that I've ever gotten to see firsthand. It was so amazing that the humans got involved, that the elemental kingdom got involved, that the celestial kingdoms got involved. Like, everybody showed up to build this grid. It was incredible, but I'm exhausted, right? Like, I'm sure you are too. But it's super exciting, because what that means is now that that grid's online and it's accessible, it means that from the surface of the earth up to, let's say, 20 feet, which is large enough to include the height of any normal sized human. I don't think there's a human on the planet that's more than 20 feet yet. But for that first 20 feet, the whole surface of the planet almost is covered in violet flame energy at this point. Great big giant channels of tubes of light that go all over the place, like fiber optics. Imagine the cables that they've laid around the world, and the satellites and all that stuff, like whatever image you like. There is a whole new structure of violet flame physically built and available to us to be plugged into across the surface of the planet. And we're literally walking through it every single minute of every single day. And so one of the things that they've asked me to remind you of is that that's been taken care of this year. And what does that mean? Why do they want us to remember this? Because there are so many really difficult worldly topics that are coming out that everybody's been blowing up my phone about. Oh my God, Leanne, pray for this place. Leanne, pray for that place. This is going on over here. Did you hear about this country? Did you hear about that country? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The reason that these grids have been built is to be able to handle this level of transmutation popping up along all these points from the earthly planes. And there are hotspots that have been hotspots in the karmic field around the planetary grids for many eons of time. And I will not pretend to know everything about how this works, but I do know that these are release points, and that the humans that are involved in these activities are also, even if they don't know it, they are doing the work of the light. They have been prepared, they have been trained, they have been volunteers in spirit to come and live these lifetimes and to do these things, including to transmute this just by living through these conflicts and these difficulties and these challenges. So I encourage all of you to continue to pray for them, continue to be a resource for them, but also have faith that, how do I say it? Like, God didn't take a day off, right? This is a big cleanup project. Everybody on the planet is involved in it. My greatest hope is that this can be as easily accomplished as possible. But your prayers really do matter. Your activity of light absolutely matters. The extras that you send to those afar that you love, that you care about, makes all the difference in the world. So please continue to keep your hearts open, keep your hands open, keep your love and your prayers and your Reiki flowing, flowing, flowing. It's so, so, so important. Okay. So know that. And then also know that these grids of purple light, the violet flame, are actively ready and prepared and transmuting and transmuting and transmuting and transmuting all these situations as they come up. So we're not alone. It's not just the humans praying for the humans. This is a multiple realm level activity that is in full-blown karmic planetary clearing mode. Okay, it's hard. It's not easy to watch this going down, but be strong and have faith that you're a part of it, that you can have positive influence, and that this too shall pass. This too shall be cleaned. All the resources necessary for this are being provided. Okay, so please hear that with my whole heart and all of our love, because I don't want you freaking out. I want you to stay on par, and I want you to keep growing in ways that make you super happy. Okay, so do your part, send your prayers, send your love, but don't be obsessed. Don't be obsessed by the traumas of the world. Don't get lost in them. And definitely, definitely do not collapse your energetic power, and do not shut down your channel, because it's counterproductive. It is so, so counterproductive. Okay. And if you feel like you have and you need a little help getting back online, have your people call my people. Okay. I will either see you in spirit or I will see you in human. My pleasure. But we need your channel to be open. And this beautiful year, if you can generously offer your channel to be a pillar of light between the realms, and if you can generously expand and reach and stretch and put up with what that gentle discomfort is going to feel like, if you can give as much as you can give generously, okay, the blessings are going to be there for you. I promise you that. Okay, the universe is going to reward you in phenomenal ways. And when I say phenomenal ways, I wish I could say, yeah, you're all going to get $1 million. That would be great. I'd love to give you all $1 million. Please, God, if that's possible, yes, we'll all take $1 million or 20 million. That'd be great too. But what I'm saying is, why not? Okay. But what I'm saying is the universe knows what would be even better than that for you. All right. The dreams that you've been putting off in order to help the universe do its business, those can come back online this year. The opportunities to put you into places where you really belong and where you really feel like you have a powerful influence and where you can contribute in a way that just makes your heart sing, and where you feel alive and open and valued and purposeful, and even for you to feel your own beauty and to know your own worth, to unite with your soul groups, to make friends with people that know you, that see you, that truly see you. That's so valuable. I would almost take that over the $1 million, but the $1 million would be really nice too. We're still humans, right? But you don't have to pick and choose either, right? Generosity is generosity. If you can vibe to generosity on one level, and in my opinion, doing it on a spiritual level is always the easiest level. But if you can vibe on a generosity level, then it permeates every single part of your life. Okay. Time will feel more generous to you. Life will feel more generous to you. Abundance will feel more generous to you. It's not just you giving it all away. That's not the generosity that I'm talking about. It's a give and take, but knowing that it will be more than replenished even before you need it. That's what generosity is. It's not just abundance, it's abundance on steroids. Generosity is one of the frequencies of the violet flame beingness. So it takes the abundance that we've already gotten ourselves online with from last year's scarcity clearing, and it kicks it up a notch. And it says, not only is there abundance, which means that there's enough, it takes it to that level where there's more than enough, right? There's more than enough. There's extra. You never have to even worry about it. Like, and that's kind of a mind blower, right? Like, everybody's usually worried about getting enough. Well, when you're done with that, then you just start swimming in that beautiful place of, well, there's more than enough, right? Think about oxygen for just a second. It's one of those very simple examples. There's more than enough oxygen on this planet for everybody, right? You've never had to worry about where you're going to get your next breath from, unless you're scuba diving, right? You breathe in, you breathe out. The air is always going to be there. I mean, has anybody ever spent 2 seconds even freaking out about that? Probably not, right? I mean, unless you're at altitude. That's another time that I've had a little bit of a hard time, but still the oxygen's there. So that is a more than enough substance. Imagine for a second if you had that same feeling of generosity and access on every level. I don't just have faith, I have more than enough faith. I don't have enough love, I have more than enough love. And I'll give you a perfect example, and this is a little bit of a story about me in this week. Like, this has been the weirdest, hardest year to launch. between the day 1 of the year and the day 11 of the year is always a detoxification phase. As a matter of fact, like the detox from the previous year to the current year usually happens from the winter solstice up until the 11th of January. It's just that window where like hardcore detoxing, transmutational activities always taking place. But this year, man, I feel like I am in a tumultuous washing machine. I haven't gotten one single thing done properly, in my opinion, that is on my Leanne to-do list, because I'm getting bombarded by everybody else's things, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way if you're one of those people that's blown up my phone. I'm so happy to hear from everybody. But there has been a number of people calling me up going, hey, I have a situation. I need you to put down what you got going on. I need you to show up for me. And I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. Mine can wait. Got it. And then the phone rings again. Leanne, I need you to be generous. Okay, not a problem. I'll be generous. Click. Hey, Leanne, I need you to be generous. Okay, not a problem. Click. And I'm like, this is the fastest launching of a year's energies that I've ever seen. Usually I have a nice little, we'll get into the vibes and pick up from there. This is like crash and burn. We're ready to go. Leanne, come on. We told you last year we're going to be generous. We gave you a heads up 2 months ago, which I never get, by the way. And I've even been telling Joelle, I'm like, I can't believe I'm already getting some of the themes for next year, this year. And this is back in like November. They're like, no, we told you we're going to be rolling into generosity. Let's go. So at that greater need, my stuff still needs to get done too, right? So Aurora has been already saying to me, Leanne, you already have everything you need to get this done. You already have everything you need to get this done, this and more, this and more. You have all the resources available to you. So one of the big words that she's been repeating like nonstop, and I love her for repeating this, I love you so much, is the theme for this year is resourcefulness. Resourcefulness. Okay, sourcefulness, plugging back into a way of being that you have always been, but that's been not necessarily experienced by you recently. By recently, I mean the last 10 lifetimes, perhaps. But you are designed to be sourced from source. And as a matter of fact, you are source itself. Right? We've all heard this truth. We've all, again, believed in the thing that exists up there, but where is it down here? So this year, that's going to start existing down here in very tangible ways. You are going to be that source embodied in you. And because not everybody is online like that, guess what the other people who are not knowing how to get resourceful are going to do? They're going to turn to you. Okay, your phone's going to ring, right? And sometimes you're going to be like, of course I can be generous, no problem. But there's going to be other times when you are literally going to be in a situation where you are going to have to like reroute them from plugging into you to, hey, did you ask God for that? Did you ask your guides for that? Have you meditated on that? Are you grounded? Are you centered? How's that channel of yours looking? Okay. Are you lit? Is your spark on? Are you open to receiving? So when people are asking you to be their source, do it in such a way that empowers them, not enables them, and in a way that doesn't burden you, in a way that blesses you and blesses them. Okay, that's going to be super important. Keep that in mind. You are going to be the source, but you're not going to be the source for the entire collective. And it's going to try and penetrate you. It's going to try. And guess who's going to have to say no? But the resources to say no will be there for you. Like all the resources will be there for you to do whatever it is that you have to do. All right. Let's take a big deep breath. Is everybody with me so far? Okay. I have my third piece that I'd love to share with you. So part number one, just to recap, part number one is all the activities from last year that you did for yourself. That beautiful transmutational self-healing work, that self-improvement work, you're going to do it again, but in the field between the relationship between you and your life. All right. So again, you're using muscles you've already built last year, but you're going to work them out a little bit differently. That's part one. Part two, be resourceful. You have all the resources available to you. Okay, you are going to become the source of you. You are going to embody the source that is your source as your source of self, source, Same thing, same, but different. Self, source, self, source. I am the source. And that's a great mantra to work with, by the way. I am the source of this. I am the source of this. I am the source of this. So if you find yourself in a situation where like, man, my car just broke down, I need $1,000 to fix my engine. Where do I go to get it? Right here. Okay, go into the source spark of you, create that. I am the source of this solution. I am the source of this opportunity. I am the source of the answer to this. I am the source of my guidance. Instead of waiting for everybody external to answer you, instead of waiting for the universe to show up for you, the way it's going to show up for you is through you, as you. Different. It's going to feel weird. You're probably going to want it to go back to how it used to be, where you're like, hey, Aurora, can I have $1,000 to fix my car? She's like, sure, here you go. Let's manifest that. Okay. To become the source of it is very different. And to pull from your own source and to become your own resource, it's going to be something that we're going to have to learn. Again, I don't know the 100% hows and whys and whens of how to make that happen yet, but I have no doubt that it'll come as we need it throughout the year. So I'm looking forward to a lot of our programs so I can learn along with you, which I always get to do. So point number 3 for this year, and this is a really beautiful one. Take a deep breath. By the way, I love you so much. I'm so grateful you're here on the planet, being pillars of light with me. I love having company. It's so nice to be here with you. And I wish you all the best this year. So our third really important topic for this year is a violet flame topic. I don't mean to take a deep breath. I'm just refreshing my words a bit, okay? It's a violet flame topic, and it is beyond important. It is like the key that unlocks the magic of this year, not to use a violet flame word, but magic is a violet flame word. So the key that unlocks you in this year, it's going to be the game changer between like, oh my God, everything is super hard and difficult, even though Leanne gave me a heads up, versus this is so much fun. I can't believe all this awesome stuff that I'm creating. What else can we do? The difference is your spiritual creative authority. Wielding your power as the creator that you are designed to be and becoming the creative authority that you are meant to be in this life over your field of life is the game changer. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, the universe did this to me. Okay? Or people just generally have this feeling that life is out to get me. And let's not lie about this. We all feel that, myself included. There's times when I'm like, man, I can't catch a break this week. Life is really like on my butt. Okay. We all have that feeling. Like it's one thing after the other. Like, oh my God, like, come on. It's almost this experience of victimization, right? It's not almost, it is an experience of victimization, but as if life or karma is out to get me. Okay. We're going to be shifting that attitude, and it is essential. As a matter of fact, we've already started shifting this attitude last year. If you didn't make friends with life even a little bit last year, I'd be shocked. But taking it to that next level this year means that you look at this field that is your field, your life field, your bubble, your field of influence, your field of creativity, as if it's yours to manage. It's yours to be created. It's yours to be dismantled. It's yours to take care of. It's yours not to take care of if you don't want to do that. Nobody's telling you what to do. I'm certainly not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you that if you take care of it, it will be taken care of. If you don't take care of it, it won't be taken care of. If you put your energy into it, it will be nourished and thrive. If you don't put your energy into it, it will be stagnant and start to decay. We have to take responsibility for the field of life. Have to. Essential. This is not a new thing. It's just a new memo that's telling you, kick it up a notch, kick it up 20 notches. Okay. So taking responsibility for your field of life is beyond important, because what's going to happen is you are going to start creating faster, better, and for the collective. Your actual creative power is going to be wielded faster, better, only for the not only, I don't mean to say only, let me pull that word back. It can't only be creative for you, because when you create betterment in your field, it affects the betterment of the whole. So coming into that sense of creative authority, and this is my field, it's my job to protect it. It's my job to manage it. Just like I manage my mind, I manage my energetic field. I'm in charge of taking care of my heart. There's nobody else on this planet that has that job. I didn't hire somebody to say, hey, make sure Leanne's chakras look good today. No, that's my job. It's your job to take care of yours. Now you get to hire somebody like me to help you do it if you want to. That's great and good. But at the end of the day, these are your chakras. Okay? Nobody else washes your car. Nobody else cleans your house unless you hire somebody to do it, but it's still your house. You get to say yay or nay. The same sort of feeling needs to take place about your life. Okay? Instead of being somebody who is like dropped into the field of your life and you're in that washing machine and it's pushing you around and telling you what to do and moving you from here to there. And I don't mean to be talking about grace, by the way. I'm talking about like being a victim to life, being disempowered by your life, not feeling like every choice around you is yours that you've made or that you have the power to change. All of that needs to be shifted. We have to start operating inside of our lives the way that we've been operating inside of ourselves. Taking charge, being the manager of the energy, taking responsibility for cleaning it up, taking responsibility for making space in it and for qualifying it the way you want it to vibe, right? It's one thing to say, wow, there's so much negativity in my field. Okay, what are you doing to clean it up? Our actions, our intentions, and our manifestations, including our prayers, are all going to start having to match each other. To say one thing, but then to not do it, it's not going to be enough. The universe of your guides and guardians who've always supplemented your efforts, they are still there to supplement you, but at a smaller percentage when you increase your own authority. And it's not that they're going to take a day off. Nobody's going to be dumping you to yourself. Nobody's breaking up with you in the universe. Life is not saying, hey, you're on your own, go figure it out, go live on your island. That's not what I'm saying. But the way your guides are going to source you is going to be through your own self, as opposed to from the external. It's the same message I gave you from before, okay? It's going to all come from inside instead of from outside. It's going to come from inside as opposed to coming from upside. It's all going to come from inside as opposed to coming from underside. Wherever you pull your sources from, wherever you resource yourself, whether it's through the roots underneath you, whether it's from God above you, whether it's from your field of life around you, it's going to start coming from inside of your spark. Many years ago, Aurora, my guardian archangel, and all of my team in spirit disappeared. This was a crisis for me. I had been actively trans-channeling them almost up to 99%. I would share space with them is what I would call it. I could feel them standing next to me like I would feel you standing next to me. They would be as real to me as this chair that I'm sitting on, or as real as this cup of tea that I'm holding on to. I would hear them, I would sense them, I would feel them, and especially Aurora, who is 24/7 my go-to. And one day, spontaneously at the beginning of a year, and this goes back quite a few years, she just decides to tell me out of the blue, Leanne, one day when you can't feel me anymore, know that I'm still with you. I was like, I'm sorry, what? And so she repeated it very gracefully as always. Leanne, one day when you stop feeling me, panic attack, I'm still with you. And I was about to argue with her, but she wasn't having it. And I was like, I don't understand. Will you tell me what that means? What's the day? When's that going to happen? I really don't want to do that. Can we vote against it? No, like I say no to this. Do I have any choice? She's like, no. One day when you stop feeling me, I will still be with you. So that day showed up about 4 months later. And next thing you know, it was like the space that she occupied was empty with no explanation other than in that moment, 4 months later, I remember what she said to me 4 months before, Leanne, one day when you stop feeling me, I'm still with you. I'm like, well, maybe she's standing somewhere else. No, she wasn't standing anywhere else. It was very weird. I felt completely abandoned. I went through a whole spiritual crisis, total phase. It was a thing. I promise you, it was really a thing. Until finally I accepted this. Like, I really hated it. Like, I hated that she wasn't standing by my side. It broke my heart. I felt like I was broken up with. And then yet I would go to work and I would be able to channel her instantaneously. And she'd be like, oh my God, great. You come for everybody else, but you don't show up for me. Like, I don't get it, but okay. I guess there's other people you need to be working with. I made up stories. I had no idea what this meant until finally, heartbroken, completely missing her, longing for that love again that she once provided for me. And by the way, all my other guides did the same thing too. It wasn't just Aurora. It was like everybody stopped showing up the way that they did. So spontaneously one day, I dropped into my heart. I landed in the center of me, stood in my threefold flame, had no intention to go there, but I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and got pulled right in, hardcore, really fast. And I hadn't been there in a long minute. All of a sudden, I find myself inside of my threefold flame in my heart chamber. And I look around and they're all there. All of them. I was furious. I didn't mean to be. But the next thing I looked at them, I'm like, where have you been? I missed you so much. I started yelling at all of them. It was really funny and they took it very well. So we're like, where have you been? You abandoned me. And I had a nice little meltdown. And so Aurora and everybody else came up to me and they were super happy to see me. They were like, we were for you right here. I'm like, you think you could have told me that like you weren't just going out there somewhere, that you were going to come and internalize inside of my heart space, and that from now until forevermore, that's where I'd have to go to find you. You think they could have let me know that? No. So I find this out, of course, in divine perfect timing, after having gone through all the feelings that, of course, I needed to touch into and to feel and to transmute and release and to get over, because it was such human feelings about such non-human things. And by the time I realized that, oh my God, this is actually a mark of success, I've integrated them. I've merged with them. I'm no longer in training. They're one with me. I got that memo that day and they all became a part of my existence again. But from that moment on, I then had to learn how to channel from inside of me as opposed to from outside of me, which required completely different things. We'll just call it that. It was a little tricky. I had to figure it out. Everything I tried to do didn't work. It was fun. We had to figure that out. But I did. So that's about as close as I can explain to you what is going to take place in regards to your creative power and your resourcefulness this year. Everything that you are so used to pulling on from the outside of you is no longer going to be coming from the external. It's going to be coming from the internal through your inner spark, and specifically through the center of your threefold flame. So my friends, I'm going to leave you with one final message. Okay? It is going to be so important this year to be heart-centered, to remind yourself to be love, to be loving to yourself, to be kind and patient with you as you learn how to reroute your creative power and your resourcefulness from the insides to the outsides and into your life. It's literally a change in how you be. It's going to take a minute to get used to it. And that's okay. We're going to do it together. Okay. So when you start to feel that, trust that they are all with you. Trust that every resource of the entire universe is here ready to bless you. Trust that your connection to source is so much more powerful than it's ever been. That your light is so much brighter than you've ever had it. That your love is so powerful. And you're finally ready to start touching into that, as if like all the love that you know that you wield and all the power that you know that you wield is not even 1% of what's been possible, and you're finally ready to find out more. And then don't take responsibility for being the source of everything for everyone. Okay? Just like you weren't in that collective pool, that big fish in that big ocean, taking care of the whole ocean. You didn't have to take care of the whole ocean last year. You had to take care of your little reef. Okay? And once you figured that out, everybody had an easier time. There's a lot of people on a lot of reefs inside this great big ocean. We're all working together. You don't have to take care of the whole collective. All right? But you can be the source for people who don't have source, and then be the guide to get them to source, and then delegate, turn them over, be an example of creative authority, be an example of goodness and resourcefulness. Be good humans. You're always good at that. Okay? So as we go through this beautiful year, it'd be my pleasure to have you in any one of our programs and classes. It will always be my pleasure to support you from afar or from near, however you need me to. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you so much just for being you. Everything that you are is perfect. From the perfect comes the perfect. Quick recap of some bullet points from tonight's themes for 2024. Take your rightful place. Take your rightful place. Take your rightful place in your heart. Take your rightful place in your life. Moment by moment, take your rightful place of power and creative authority. Take your rightful place. It's a phrase that I'm going to probably be using to say, step up and show up. Okay? Next, open yourself to love. Open yourself to all those beautiful resources, to the faith that everything you need is right there for you. Make friends with your life. Transmute any known and unknown factors of insecurity, injustice, and insufficiency that are playing out programs in your life experience that are available for transmutation into higher perfection. Be resourceful. Remember that you are the source of you. You are the source of you, and the source opening that channel from the higher planes to the earthly planes. You are creating a bridge of I am presence in your light, and that is an activity of light that the universe is enormously grateful for. It is the next phase of making heaven on earth. Okay? And you're a part of that, but we're at the beginning of that process. So be patient with it and be patient with you. And don't forget to take care of your spirit. Okay? I don't think I've said this one yet. This is a good year to meditate. This is a good year to be in your spiritual practices. This is a good year to build conscious community that supports you, that nourishes you, that helps you to thrive, and that doesn't judge you, that doesn't cause you harm, that doesn't cause you to feel victimized, that doesn't disencourage you. You want to surround yourself with as much goodness, ease, and positivity as possible this year. Surround yourself with love. Surround yourself with good people, okay? Not ones that are dumping their shit on you all day long. And we all have people that do that. You all know what I'm talking about. Don't be the light workers that let that happen to you. All right? They're allowed to dump. Doesn't mean you need to hold it. You're the boss of you. If you need help, ask for it. Whether it is human, elemental, or divine. The resources will be there for you. Okay? I am so grateful for this beautiful time together. And like I said, I wanted to finish up with a chant. I asked Aurora for a mantra just to kind of help me get into the 111 energies. And I was really surprised by the one that came through because it was one that wasn't very familiar to me. It comes from some of the yogic traditions, of course. Forgive me for untangling myself. And I'm going to see if I can find the translation of this chant and read to you the English version of the words. I have it on my phone. Forgive me for pulling my phone out, but it's necessary. The name of the chant I'm going to put into the chat. My spell check is messing it up. Okay, there we go. All right. So the name of the chant is Namaste. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's also known as the Powerty chant of infinity. This mantra has the capacity to give you infinite powers. As with any mantra, Namaste has a specific sound current or a unique code that activates when the tongue hits the meridians on the roof of the mouth to recite the Gurumukh. I didn't say that right. I think I did. Okay, we'll skip that word. Something guru, something, something. It is the 24th Pauri or verse from Japji, which is a sacred Sikh text. The very precise rhythm of it puts a certain pattern on your neurons so you have the ability to recode reality in a different way, a way that gives you sovereignty. Mind you, Aurora had me listening to this and I had no idea what it actually meant. And then I looked it up and this is what it said. I'm like, oh, we're reprogramming reality and becoming sovereign. Love it. By programming through the upper palate into the crown chakra, the sounds of Namaste sort out the subconscious landscape and rearrange the karmic patterns and the samskaric patterns in your favor. It will cut out anything that divides you from your own rhythmic, cosmic, harmonious current, and will break up limitations and cut out negativity. It is also known as the mantra for family karma. Whether you listen, chant, or sleep with the mantra, you get the benefits of deep cellular change. Codes within our cells are written by our family's history and determine more than what we look like and to what diseases we're prone to. Even when we are vastly different than the rest of our family, certain tendencies towards discontent or misfortune can be present in our unconsciousness and subconsciousness from childhood. This mantra breaks family karma. It is said to shatter the misfortune with the power of a thunderbolt and affect generations. It is a powerful mantra of change and transformation for you and your whole family. I love this right up. Okay, so this is the chant that she just sent me in the direction. And then the chant itself, I'm not going to do the Sanskrit part. She'll do it in the recording that we'll do together. But here's a translation. There is no end of good advice, no end to what is said, no end of doing, no end of giving, no end of seeing, hearing, and living. There is no end in sight. What mantra lies within God's mind? See the structure of the universe. There is no end in sight. See its endless expansion. There is no end in sight. Many wail in frustration because there is no end in sight. No one can find the end. The more you try to tell, the more there is to say. God is high. The Nam sound current is high. You must get that high to see. I love that line. You must get that high to see. Isn't that what we did in our opening meditation? You must get that high to see. God knows how high he is. Oh, Nanak, one glance can set you free. Okay, so that's the literal translation, but I'd like to do this with you. All right, my beautiful friends, take a nice big deep breath. Let's bring our hands back to the center, back into the heart. Let us remember the divine spark within the threefold flame of self in each and every one of our beautiful heart chakra centers. Remember that you took your rightful position. You took your rightful place in yourself, in your center, in your life and in this beautiful year. I ask all of our beautiful guides and guardians to continue to bless you, to resource you, to hold you in the highest of creative power and authority, and in the most supreme and sacred love in every minute of every day and in every possible way this entire beautiful year. From my heart to yours, my beautiful friends, I love you, I bless you, I hold you, and I cherish you so, so much. Namaste, and thank you for being you. I love you all. Have a great 2024, and I hope to see you soon. If you're not already on our email list and you would like to be, you can certainly reach out and give us your information. We'd be happy to pop you in. And a great invitation that I'm going to throw out there to you, if you haven't already seen it, is that Joelle is hosting a fantastic conference the weekend of February 9th and 10th. We are doing a Create Your Life, Heaven Meets Earth, beautiful event with some amazing spiritual teachers. It's at the Center for Spiritual Living in Fort Lauderdale, and it would be our pleasure to have you. And my particular contribution to that beautiful event is going to be building the grids for all of this incredible creative authority that we've been talking about. So I hope you'll check that out. And if you have any questions, let us know. We have a discount code that goes till the 15th, but I don't want to be a commercial. So check that out. And if you need it, I'm happy to give it to you again and again. All right. Love you guys so much. Our newsletter with upcoming programs and masterclasses and all that good stuff is going to be going out by this weekend. So keep an eye out for your emails. And if my phone doesn't blow up with everybody else's to-do list, it will definitely get out by Saturday. I love you all so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful night. Bye.